Well, we meet again. Welcome to No Life Digital. Today I just wanted to update you guys on some of the stuff about the Canon R5. I've been very pleased with this camera, possibly my favorite camera I've ever purchased. I really enjoyed the A6000 when I first got it, but I think this might be taking the cake. But if you need a hybrid camera at an uncompromising quality, it's really hard to beat. So the first thing I wanted to update you guys on is that I did update my rig. I got the SmallRig camera cage for the R5 and it fits it beautifully. It's very nice. It comes with this tool that slides underneath the bottom and is magnetically attached so you can screw it on whenever you need it. The problem that I have with it is it feels as if like you have to put it in a certain way. I wish that I can put the camera in either way, but there's like a certain way they want you to do it. But other than that, I've really enjoyed it. There's a cold shoe mount that you can use. There's tons of 1/4 inch threads all around the cage. It's just a really nice, well done, compact cage and a real step up from any sort of like cheap rig that you'll find on Amazon or you'll find at your camera shop. I highly recommend checking out the SmallRig stuff. Now, I will say I want to add some more stuff to it. I do want to get a handle. I want to get a couple like automatic follow focuses. I want to build like a nice shoulder rig for when I want to kind of really build out the camera. But if you just have like an Atomos on top and maybe a microphone, it's a really great cage that keeps everything nice and compact. And you don't have to constantly take it off the cage or take it off the rig to use it. You can just keep it on the rig. It adds some weight to it, but that weight is warranted anyway since it's going to help stabilize your footage. Overall, I've been really happy with it. It looks great and works nicely, so go check it out. It's at a good price. It took a while to get in, but nonetheless, it is here now. All right, the next thing I wanted to update you guys on is Canon seems, at least with this camera, I guess the R6 as well, there does seem to be some quality control issues, some QC issues, or some product variants. So the thing that sticks out to me the most is the Ibis. Since I first got this camera, the main thing that I've been impressed by was the Ibis. I mean, the Ibis is what blew me away about this camera. And as soon as I started using it, I realized like, there's no need for gimbals. There's no need for, it's just so stable. Walking is stable. You can throw it on the enhanced mode and it's even more stable. It's great for locking off like long focal shots at like anything past 70 millimeters. It's insane how great the Ibis is. But I seem to be somewhat in the minority where a lot of other users are having pretty bad issues with Ibis and some it seems worse than others. So just take a look at this footage here. And now take a look at this footage from Camera Conspiracies, because this is when I started to notice it. And now take a look at my footage that I just recorded before I started recording this. As you can see, there's a lot of variability in the Ibis system. So as we can see with Rocky Cola's video, the Ibis is bad, and that's at 24 millimeters. The video that I was shooting was at 15 millimeters on the RF 15 to 35. I've had zero wobbling issues with my 15 to 35, my 24 to 70, any of the other lenses that I've used, even the EF lenses. I've seen zero issues with wobbling. It's just been amazing. The Ibis has been perfect for me. It's the best thing about the camera. But then I see other channels and I see other videos being put up and I see people complaining like, look how bad the Ibis is. There was someone on the Facebook group that posted something where the Ibis was just sitting still, just locking the camera off, was wobbling in the corners terribly. And I think there's a lot of variance in the Ibis system. So I do want to say, if you are planning on getting this camera or you have already gotten this camera, take a look at your Ibis. If your wobbling is bad, I would consider speaking with Canon and maybe getting a replacement, because this camera, my camera, the golden camera, seems to be immaculate. Like this, the Ibis out of it is the best on the market. That period. It's just the best that I've used on the market. And if you can't get that quality from your Canon R5 or R6, you should go to Canon and be like, why is my camera exhibiting this Ibis when this camera's not exhibiting this Ibis? Now, caveat, I haven't upgraded my lenses, but the thing is there were Ibis issues before the firmware, And then after the firmware, the Ibis issues still were present, but it seemed to fix things a little bit more. I've never experienced these wobbling issues, and I'm on the old firmware. I've never updated these lenses, so I'm on the oldest firmware possible, and it just seems to me that there's an issue there. So if you're having problems with Ibis, with your RF lenses, I would go to Canon and say, there might be something wrong here. You might have to give me a new system or something, because the Ibis is amazing. You want that Ibis. Trust me. You don't want to settle for wobbly at 15, wobbly at 24. Mine don't exhibit any of that. Zero. And that's just the Ibis. There's other issues as well that I've seen people talking about. They're overheating a lot quicker with certain modes. They're overheating a lot quicker even in stills mode. There's cameras getting bricked. There's this and that. There seems to be a lot of QC issues, product variants that Canon needs to be working out. And don't be afraid to contact them and say, hey, you might have to swap this model out because, I'm having all types of problems with it. My Ibis is wobbling all over the place. My autofocus isn't working correctly. Like, that stuff might be a hardware issue that you can just get a new system and then it'll all be fixed. Because, I've been extremely happy with my camera. There's no wobbling. There's no autofocus issues. It's just been a perfect camera. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is the Sony A7s III. So when I first got the R5, I was also planning on getting the A7s III and testing between them to see maybe I do want to stay with Sony and remain in the Sony system. So I wanted to test it out. But after the months have passed, I've just really enjoyed the Canon ecosystem that I feel no need to even bother. I really don't plan on jumping into the Sony A7s III. Especially with the announcement of the C70. I've been very impressed by the C70, and we're hearing rumors about a C50, which I'm very interested in. And in terms of like the ecosystem, I've been really happy with Canon, and I'm very happy with the trajectory they've been on, the path that they're going down, the lenses that they've been releasing. That I've just kind of been like, maybe I'll get to Sony sometime down in the future if they start to really bring it again. But right now, I've been really impressed by Canon, and I just see no need to even test out the Sony. It's clear that the R5's image quality is superior above the A7s III. The only real reason why I would consider an A7s III is because of that Catalyst software, which I've written off in the beginning, but after seeing more footage of people using Catalyst, I've been super impressed by it. I wish Canon would implement something like that. And also because of all the different bit rates and having the 10-bit 420 bit rate as opposed to the 10-bit 422 H.265 that only Canon has, which is the biggest issue that I have with this camera. You have to proxy it, and I've been shooting in ProRes almost exclusively, and that sucks. Like, it sucks that when I'm not bringing my Atomos, so when I'm going on those hikes or I'm traveling or I'm doing like family stuff, I'm not bringing the Atomos with me. I'm shooting internal on the camera, and I have to either shoot in the 8-bit format or I have to proxy it and reformat all the footage, and it just becomes a fucking nightmare. And I've been waiting for an answer from NVIDIA if they're going to be supporting 10-bit H.265 422 decoding in their platform, and it's been confirmed that it's not. They're not going to be supporting it. There's the new AMD RDNA 2 stuff that's come out, and I'm waiting to see if anything like that is implemented in those cards, but I would highly doubt it, especially since VCE, which is AMD's video decoding platform, is less than NVENC. It's not on the same level as NVENC, and NVIDIA's video platform is just way better. So if you're planning on updating to an RTX 3080 or an AMD 6800, which just got recently announced, you're probably not going to see any hardware decoding coming from those graphics cards, and you just need to wait to see if it's supported on the CPU side and supported in a manner that is quick, that's actually up to the standards and the speeds that GPU decoding has been at for some time now. And again, like, we still have to wait to see what Apple Silicon brings. Apple Silicon seems to be great. Like, you can import that footage right into LumaFusion on the iPad, on a 2018 iPad, and it just ingests it beautifully, and you can just start editing, and it works excellent. So I'm very hopeful for Apple's implementation of it. It's just a shame that we're not seeing it on the Windows side or the Premiere side or the NVIDIA or the AMD side. There just needs to be more there. And I really wish that Canon would be more forthright with that information. When I asked them about this stuff in a conference that they had no answers really. They were just like, well, it is what it is. It's a tough codec to decode. It's like, yeah, well, you're talking about adding 2 times the amount of time, if that, maybe even 3 times the amount of time in your editing process. And that's a deal breaker for some people. And for some people, they're just not gonna use an Ibis. They don't want to. They just want to use the codecs and the camera. And it just seems like that's a very tough proposition right now. So that's something else that you need to factor in when you're thinking about this camera. And lastly, before we get out of here, Canon Rumors has an article here that says the next firmware for the Canon R5 is still on schedule for November, and it should bring Canon Cinema Raw Lite, C-Log 2 and 3, 1080p 120, further tweaking of temperature control, bug fixes. Other codecs are being worked on, but may not arrive in time for November. I'm hoping that the other codecs includes a 10-bit 420 implementation. That would be phenomenal because they all support 10-bit H.265 420 hardware decoding, and that would be excellent. I mean, that would be huge. That would be huge. As well as C-Log 2 and 3. I'm very excited to see that implementation as well. But I'm really just waiting for this new firmware before we do another update video on the R5, and we'll continue from there. So to wrap this up, if you have like wobbling Ibis issues, and I'm talking about like, it's a frustrating, almost unusable problem where every time you take your 15 to 35, you're getting wobbling, you can't use it, you have to crop it in. Go to Canon and and ask them if there's anything that they can do. Because I promise you, I do not have those issues with my camera and my lenses. None of them. Not on 24, not on the 15 to 35. I don't have those issues. So you might want to go speak to them about it. I'll keep you updated on the whole codec and encoder situation because that's a huge issue that a lot of people are facing. It's the most annoying thing about the camera for me. And I'm still thinking about leaning to a C70, C50. We'll see. I've kind of just been like upgrading like the GPU side of things. I'm excited to see what Apple's bringing. I'm going to be getting a new iPhone. I can't wait for the new consoles to come out. So I have like a lot of other stuff that I want to purchase before I have to go and do some more camera stuff. But in the meantime, just stay tuned here. I still got videos coming. I know I haven't seen you guys in a while. I've been busy on my other channel and my real job really. So I've been focusing on that, but I promise I'm still here. I'm still going to be creating videos, and I just wanted to update you guys and say what's up. Haven't talked to you in a while, and I missed you. All right, so don't forget, we also do a podcast every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. If you enjoy tech, gaming, cameras, stuff like that, we do talk about that stuff. Tuesday, 6:30 on YouTube. And yeah, all right. Peace.